Welcome to the social circle where creators come together to turn ideas into impact and goals into a reality. I am Candace, and this is
Jennifer, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for joining wherever you are from. We are excited to have you here. Today is going to be another really great episode. I think you are going to get so much goodness out of this, just like all the other ones. Got to go check those out too. Candace, what are we talking about today?
being on multiple platforms without burning yourself out.
Being everywhere is great until it isn't. In this episode, we are going to walk you through how you can simplify your content across platforms and not go crazy. Is
Yeah,
not what we're here for. We're here for
yeah.
sustainable. We're here for effectiveness. And Candace, what do you have to say about that?
I agree with the post on every platform, but our circle hack today will help you do that in a way that's easier for you.
Totally.
Yes, it's easier for you. And this is a way that I have fully monetized my YouTube channel without ever posting on it organically. I never posted a single reel or video or anything until this year.
And
And I fully
organically,
monetized. Yeah.
yeah, organically meaning you never opened up the YouTube app, hit the plus sign to create something new using the inside of YouTube's. You took
Correct.
everything and it was just a automatic systemized program. It was repurpose.io, right?
Repurpose.io. You guys, we use this for the podcast. We use this for the podcast to grow our YouTube channel currently. All of our reels that we post on Instagram go from there to the Social Circle VIP YouTube, which then grows our audience on both platforms with one single video. Now, I have been using Repurpose for about 3 years now and have been able to take my post from Instagram back then, I mean, 3 times a day, maybe. My posts from Instagram. Now I've not only taken them to Facebook, I also take them to YouTube, and I can also repurpose them on TikTok, but I wouldn't recommend using repurpose.io with TikTok unless you're pulling your TikTok videos out and putting them on another platform because TikTok doesn't really like it. But it is a great tool to automate podcasts, YouTube videos, TikToks, pushing everything to any other platforms that you want. If you wanted to save every single video, you could throw them in a Google Drive from repurpose.io. It's not that expensive. Like I said, I've been using it for 3 years and I highly recommend it. And we're not even sponsored. But I
It's
highly, highly recommend it. And we put
yes.
it in the podcast every single week in the show notes because I recommend it so highly.
You're repurposing something, being smart, right? You're thinking smarter, not harder. And I think that taking a piece of content and reshaping it into another platform is something that this tool repurpose can help you do rather than you going in and in every platform redoing everything that you've done
Yeah.
from one platform and trying to do it on another. I think when I was doing my content, I was originally starting out in TikTok and then I was trying to move my content into Instagram. And there were some big flags, right? We could not, at the time when we were doing this, we were getting watermarks. Remember
Mhm.
those? And the watermark would show up in our Instagram feed. But Instagram didn't like that because essentially we're advertising for our TikTok and they don't want you leaving from Instagram to go to TikTok, right? Same thing with TikTok. They don't want people leaving TikTok to go to Instagram, as an example. And a lot of the times it was annoying. Once you figured out the little tricks behind it, I think there was like snap.io or something, or
Yeah, snap
snap.app or
tick
something,
and
snap
stuff like
Insta,
that.
something like
Yeah.
that. There were offset little helpers to remove those watermarks, and then you can download your video into your phone and then re-upload it. And those little things that used to take so long and create like bigger issues because when there were glitches, then you couldn't save the video. What happens if the video did really great in TikTok and you're trying to get it to do well inside of Instagram?
Yeah.
It's not crossing over very well. It adds to your stress. And then that adds to that feeling of burnout. Like, oh my God, I'm spending so much time trying to get this one video to go from one
Yeah.
platform to another. It's
So
been
much
cut
time.
down.
It took so much time to download. And then you've got three of
Yeah.
the same video on your phone. And it's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I think
It's
over
for
time
ADHD people like
it's too
me, it's a
much.
headache. Yeah.
It's been condensed. I think enough of the world has complained about some of these issues, right, between these platforms. And, when repurpose.io came out, not to bring it up again, but I'm just saying when that tool came out, the opportunity to clarify and cut down on timing of getting your videos to where you need them to be was just reduced so much. And it helps a lot. And I
Yeah.
think Candace wanted to talk about understanding the differences.
Yeah. So if you're reposting, now these are terms that are thrown around a lot. That's why I think it's important for clarity because repurpose.io just repost your content from other platforms to whichever one you choose. So they're not going to change it up at all. It's going to be the same video, the same text on screen, most of the time, the same music, which does cause problems when you cross platforms. But repurposing your content is more like, for example, you have a reel that does well, say it's a talking reel. You can then take that script and put it in a carousel. You could take it and put it in a LinkedIn post if you're on LinkedIn, put it on a Facebook post. You can put it on threads if you're using threads. So these are ways that you can repurpose another piece of content that did well. And that is just kind of changing it a bit. Whereas if you're reposting it, you're just reposting it to this, it's the exact same. If I hit repost right now on TikTok or Instagram, it's going to take the exact same video and repost it on my feed, the new feature from Instagram. So I just want to make sure.
I think you nailed it. I think that's what a lot of people get confused about, and clearing it up helps out. And like I said, the repurpose.io as a tool for helping you get your content out is
Mhm.
probably going to be the biggest. And you don't have to do it, right? If you're starting out as a beginner and you don't have, if your core platform, like as an example, is TikTok, and you only want to use TikTok to create in and share your content in, stick with that. You guys don't have to move into and be, what's the word, all omnipotent, whatever,
Omnipresent.
omnipresent, right? You don't need to be on every platform when you're getting started. This conversation is more geared towards people who have been doing this for a minute and they want to expand their content outreach. This is just a way of getting one thing that does really well in one platform and hopefully get more eyes on it in the 10,000 other ways that you can.
For sure. And
This
it
is,
helps lead people back. It's just a
yes,
great tool. And like you said, Jennifer, this is what I did from the beginning. Not everybody does. I
I did not.
found repurpose.io maybe a few months into my journey, the start of my journey, and I started using it to build. And I started using it to really to build my YouTube because that was my ultimate goal. So using repurpose.io to repost my videos was just easy. But the thing is, you don't have to do that. You can pick one core platform. For me in the very beginning, it was TikTok. Wasn't it the same? It was the same for you.
I started out in TikTok. That was a suggestion because I had a Facebook page and I had an Instagram. They were both personal pages for me. And I had a lot of family and friends on there. And my fear in the beginning, as most of us go through, is family and friends are going to judge me. Family and friends were going to see, I'm not focusing on whatever. And I'm just sharing all of these random new things that don't make sense to me and who I am because I didn't understand it. So I jumped into a brand new account. Nobody knew who I was, and I started in TikTok. And that was my decision. I think some people will take a personal account and they will create it into their business account for whatever product they're trying to talk about to get an income from. It's your choice, right? How you want to do it if you want. And that's a whole other, we talk about that on another episode. It's inside the
Hmm.
classroom, inside of our Skool community. We have that there. There are different steps you can go through to choose your platform. I think that the thing that you're most comfortable using should be the platform you start with, because you're
Yeah.
not trying to learn all new things, you're not trying to figure out all new stuff. And I honestly, no hate, but I think Facebook is like the redheaded stepchild of all platforms. I don't know what's wrong on that on that app.
Yeah, it's different. They're all just so different.
They're all
They're
very
all
different.
just so dang different. And
Yeah,
everyone, for me personally, I can tell you, everyone is different. Every YouTube channel, we
that's
have
right.
3 YouTube channels, and they're all different audiences.
Yep.
It's so crazy, and
And
we're the same people.
well, I want to point that out too, though, is that that is another important reminder for yourself, is that each platform does cater to a different kind of an audience. Certain people who like Instagram because of how aesthetically pleasing, and I know that's not what we're trying to go for on there anymore, but it used to be known as that. Now
Right.
they don't really like TikTok because TikTok is more of the dance it out kind of an app,
Free
right?
for
I'm
all.
a
I
free for
call
all. It's
TikTok my free
wild,
for
wild
all. I just
west.
post whatever over there.
It is. It's the wild, wild west of social media. They're different audiences, right? Different
Right.
strokes for different folks. But the thing is, the most important thing you take away from that whole discussion, I think, is the fact that more you're able to outreach your content,
Mm,
that's the only goal. If you're business focused, business driven, and you want to scale, that
yeah.
should be your long-term goal, is to get yourself out into as many eyes and hands and viewpoints as possible. And you can do that by using all of these things. And it's not, it sounds overwhelming. It sounds horrifyingly scary to go on all of these apps and platforms. And that's why we find these useful tools that help you do that process, so that you're not creating 17,000 videos in a day to go out and post 700 different places, right? We don't
Right.
we don't want you feeling that overwhelm, because it does feel like a lot. Again, if you're starting out, this is new for you, just stick with one. Just post 1 to 3 reels a day, 5 days a week if you have to, just to get started. Once you've done the rhythm and you're into it for like 6 months and you feel I can handle this, I can do more, repurpose.io is, I think, one really, really helpful tool to get all of your content across all these places. And then I love the idea about repurposing, and I want to bring that back in because
Yeah, go for it.
repurposing is a, I know we've done it because we test content across different
Hmm.
platforms to find what each audience likes. Because again, if you have reels that perform very well on Instagram and you want to find out if your TikTok audience loves it, that's a really great way to just test out all of your content by taking what worked one way and just trying to think creatively on how to reuse it in another way. And I think that's something that it got lost on me, I know, in the very start of trying to do all this. I'm like, well, why would I do that? That doesn't make
But
sense.
we're still learning that,
Oh,
Jennifer.
it's still a lesson.
We're
Yeah, there's always a
still
lesson.
learning that 3 years in. But seriously, because the everything changes. This constant change. That's one thing that you can rely on if you are working in social media, is that is going to change
Yeah,
constantly. So that's something you have to work on, and something that you have to test. Everything is a test. Everything.
everything is a test. And because our viewer only has like the attention spans of a gnat, not even a goldfish anymore, a gnat. Social media changes. So you
Hmm.
you also are, not only are you working on yourself constantly and your content constantly, and I mean like every 7 days, it feels like right now, you're also doing it because of the
Right.
platforms changing, the updates coming in, the glitches that happen and take time to work themselves out. All of these extra things just kind of add in. So if you feel like you're doing something and you're doing everything, like you got a checklist, it's all being marked off the boxes greatly, but it's not doing anything, it take a breather, right? The
Yeah.
whole the whole thing is you don't want to have that burnout. And it's imperative that you just step back once in a while and think, okay, it didn't work out well today. I might need to take a day. And you can. There's nothing
And
wrong
you
with that.
can. And we recommend that you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, seriously, we do. We talked
I think
about
we had,
burnout just a couple weeks ago on
yeah,
another episode,
yeah,
because
we had one of our clients, she had to take a while away, and she came back, she's like, I had more followers than when I was posting every day.
this is a great segue into our social spotlight. Since we're talking about how different the platforms are,
Yeah.
and just one thing that's super important to bring up is trends, because trends are you will see trends that are successful across platforms, like the do you have any kids?
That
Yes,
one's over me
I
right now.
have one daughter. And I didn't even know that was a dude making fun of like Tinder dates messages
I had no
or
idea.
something. Oh my gosh, I will put him in the show notes. His stuff is hilarious. I forgot his name, but I'll put him in the show notes. But anyways, stuff like that will hit across platforms. But sometimes you have something that is a trend, typically starts as a trend on TikTok, as we've learned,
Yeah.
and then it'll try to trickle down into Instagram and whatnot, and it just doesn't do very well, especially at first. Especially at first, I have been early on trends like from TikTok to Instagram, and like nobody understands what the heck I'm posting about because the trend
Yeah.
hasn't gotten to Instagram yet.
Yeah, and that can be kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing. One, where are you finding the trends in TikTok, or if you're on one platform versus the other, to find those tools inside of the apps themselves that offer like a search field for you to find what is trending now. You can ask that question to find the trend. That's how you can get that. And then to move it from your perspective and put it into the app that you're working from, I think that's something that you can test them over and over and over again. I know we have a mentor that would advise on that. If it didn't work the first time, doesn't mean it was a flop. Just meant that it at that moment wasn't a hitter. And you can
Right.
try it again if you feel that you really enjoy that trend yourself, but you want to try out a couple of ideas. Just tweak the ideas a little bit about change it however you think you need to and try it a couple times. It might take 3 weeks before actually it'll hit. But you can
Right.
in those 3 weeks, every 5 to 7 days, I would say, or 6 to 8, whatever, try a different version of that trend and see
Yeah.
if you can make it get your point across in a better, shorter, simpler way. Maybe it was just too tough the first time. Maybe it wasn't enough the first time. We've been saying adapt. You have to adapt to the testing. You got to see what might and might not work. And this is another good opportunity for you to find and test out growth content in the
Mhm.
beginning. And when you're not doing sales content, when you're not doing nurturing content, you're just putting in a little bit of you into your content. This is a really good way to use trends.
Yeah. And trending audio is going to vary across platforms as well. I mean, you'll
Yep.
have your music or audio that does well across all, but again, it's sometimes you have to search
Yeah.
across the platforms. And so just something to be aware of.
For sure. It's always good to check on stuff like that. And we offer that help inside of our community as well. You want to know, we'll be answering when you ask.
Yeah, and speaking of inside the VIP community, we've been talking a lot about scaling this episode, and we have an entire chapter on how to scale your content, how you can scale that to meet that omnipresence if that's what you're searching for. And I know that we had a couple of takeaways from the communities. One of those being like planning with a content calendar.
Yeah, that's been a big help is having an everyday situation planned out for you ahead of time. ChatGPT is really good for that. You ask to set it up for you, and then it's something you can print out and all of that great stuff for yourself. I think another thing is those automation tools.
Yeah, yeah.
I think one that we didn't mention, Buffer, another one, Hootsuite. Like these are really good ones for helping you plan. And I think getting your just
Repurpose.io, don't forget.
repurpose.io. Yeah, we talked that up. I didn't want to do it again, but
I
we
know,
talked
but
that one
there
up.
goes, but I can't, I
It's a
legitimately,
favorite. It's a
I speak
favorite.
very highly of them because I've been doing it for 3 years and I've
Yeah.
gone through so many variations. I feel like
Yeah.
of that, but they're all great tools if you can afford them and if you're there, if you're
Right.
at that
Yeah.
point.
If you
Hey,
can.
and if you're really at that point, get an assistant. Get an
Outsource.
assistant. Yeah,
Yes.
ask for help. There if you can afford a virtual assistant, that's a great job for a virtual assistant to help you with your
100%.
editing and your
Yeah.
copywriting and all that.
And I think one little tip that I would have is that if you know what works well for you, and you find an assistant, I think this is an Alex Hormozy thing, be able to give that job off to somebody that you know you did well enough that you can train them that they'll do well. You don't have to think about it. when you get
Yeah.
them on board.
Mr.
It's
Beast like makes his assistants live with him for like X amount of months
There you
to
go.
see every single thing that he does so that they know what he's going to do before he does it. Expectation management.
Aha, there's a whole life right there. But all in all, I think those are realizing you don't have to start from scratch from every single platform is probably the biggest reminder to you all.
Yeah.
You can think much smarter. And in the last 3 years that we've been doing this together, a lot has changed where
Mhm.
a lot of things are smarter for us. And so we are not having to work as hard, which is always a great thing. And that's why we
Yeah.
share this information with you. That's why we want you to hit subscribe so that you can check out these tips every week because we do come back every week and have these really awesome calls. And we want you to
Mhm.
come back. And if you try some of this stuff, if you have taken our advice today and you signed into our repurpose.io, you are using it, let us know in the comments below on this podcast on where else are we at?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Spotify,
I couldn't think of them.
iHeartRadio, Amazon,
Thank
Apple,
you.
YouTube, wherever you want us, you can find us.
Yeah, and we're also on Instagram. Our handle on Instagram right here at the Social Circle VIP. And if you are interested inside of our community on the Skool platform, please message us directly, and we will send you information about all of that.
Absolutely. We hope that you guys have a wonderful week and thank you so much for joining us.
Your time is amazing. Thank you for being here.